All right, today we are diving into one of the biggest economic stories happening in the digital world right now, the incredible rise of e-gaming in Asia. And look, this isn't just a market that's growing, it's a market that is fundamentally rewriting the rulebook for the entire global industry. Let's get into it. So, it's no secret that online betting is a huge deal, all around the globe. But while lots of places are seeing growth, there's one region that's just accelerating at a mind-blowing pace. It's quickly becoming the new center of gravity for the whole industry. And here's the number that has everyone's attention: $72.81 billion. That's what the Asia Pacific online gambling market is projected to be worth by 2030. Just to put that in perspective for you, it's on track to more than double in just a handful of years. Wild. So the big question is, what's really fueling this incredible explosion? Well, it's a perfect storm of technology, culture, and some seriously high-stakes economics. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how all those pieces fit together. Okay, first things first, let's just wrap our heads around the scale here. Asia isn't just another region on the map for e-gaming. It has become the dominant economic force, and it's shaping the strategies for companies all over the planet. Now, when we say e-gaming, you got to understand we're talking about a whole digital ecosystem, right? This covers everything from online casinos and sports betting to live dealer games, and this is a big one, the absolutely booming world of esports betting. And this just shows you the insane momentum. I mean, the market was already huge back in 2023 at nearly $36 billion, but to see it projected to leap all the way to over $72 billion by 2030, that's a compound annual growth rate of over 10.5%. That is sustained, powerful, explosive growth. So how does Asia really stack up against the rest of the world? Okay, let's dig into the data and see just how a picture of global dominance starts to take shape. And here it is, plain and simple. Back in 2023, the Asia-Pacific market was already way bigger than Europe, and it was nearly 3 times the size of Latin America. It's the undisputed heavyweight champion in terms of pure scale. It's not even close. But you know what? That's really only half the story. The size is impressive, for sure, but what makes the Asian market truly, truly unique is something else entirely. This is where things get really interesting. See, it's not just about how many people are playing, it's about the value of each player. Bettors in Asia, well, they don't just show up in big numbers, they place significantly larger wagers. For operators, this means you can generate way more revenue from a smaller group of high-value users. And how much larger are we talking? Well, the average bet placed by a user in Asia is 2.5 times bigger than one in Europe. Think about that. That completely changes the business model. It's no longer a game of volume, it's a game of value. Okay, so we've established we have this massive high-value market that's growing at a ridiculous rate. So why? What are the engines actually powering this whole thing? It pretty much boils down to 2 main things. First, you have the absolute explosion of mobile internet access all across the continent. And second, there's the cultural phenomenon of eSports, which has become a monster driver for betting activity. And if you want to see just how dominant that second driver is, look at this. Asia accounts for more than half, 54%, of all global eSports betting revenue. It's not just part of the trend. Asia is the trend. So we've hit the scale, the value, and the drivers. So for our fourth section, let's zoom in a little bit, get down to the ground level. Because Asia isn't just one single market, right? It's this complex patchwork of different countries, and each one has its own rules, its own culture, its own opportunities. We're going to break down 4 key places you have to watch. First up, we've got the Philippines. Now, this one really stands out because it has a formal regulatory body, PAGCOR, which sets clear rules and handles licensing. For operators, that kind of predictability is absolute gold. It creates a stable, really attractive environment, making the Philippines a true hub for regulated e-gaming in a region that's often filled with, well, a lot of uncertainty. Then you've got a place like India. This is a market with just enormous potential, but at the same time, it's incredibly complex. You have this massive mobile-first population, so the projected growth is just off the charts. But the laws change from state to state, which creates a kind of legal maze. It's a huge prize, for sure, but only for the operators who can figure out how to navigate that complicated landscape. Japan is another fascinating one. I mean, it has one of the highest internet penetration rates on Earth and a gaming culture that's just deeply ingrained. The audience is already there, ready to go. Now, for decades, regulations have been super strict, but recent legal shifts are just starting to crack the door open. This signals a major opportunity in a market that's projected to hit almost $13 billion. And finally, South Korea, pretty much the birthplace of modern esports. The situation here is a real paradox. The regulations on most traditional gambling are incredibly strict, but professional gaming is basically a national sport, which creates this enormous, built-in demand for esports betting. That cultural force drives a huge, if heavily controlled, market that just keeps on growing. So, with all this complexity and all this potential, what does the road ahead actually look like? Well, the biggest challenge and the biggest opportunity, it all comes down to one word: regulation.
The big trend, the one we're seeing across the entire continent, is the slow but steady shift. More and more governments are moving away from those legally murky gray markets and starting to create formal licensed systems for e-gaming.
And this really is the key takeaway for anyone trying to succeed here. As one market analysis puts it, success in Asia isn't about trying to force a global product into a local market. It's about deep understanding, it's about patience, and it's about adapting your entire strategy to fit each country's unique rules.
So let's just boil this all down. What are the key takeaways? Number 1, Asia is the biggest and fastest growing e-gaming market, period. 2, its players bet more, which makes them incredibly valuable. 3, all this growth is being powered by mobile technology and the dominance of esports. And finally, 4, to win here, you have to navigate a really complex web of national laws.
And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. As this regulatory landscape keeps changing and evolving, this market is still very much in play. So will the current giants be agile enough to adapt to all the new rules, or are we going to see a new generation of players emerge to win this multi-billion-dollar long game?